First time that I encountered art that I can remember was when I was about 4 years old. My mother took me to the Carnegie Mellon Museum and she showed me a bunch of different works by various artists from various periods. And I don't remember feeling particularly inspired by any one work, though I do remember seeing Picasso's and not really being so fond of those. I remember seeing Degas and not being drawn to the brush stroke, but being drawn more to the posing, to the elongation of the ballerinas' necks, to their open form. It became apparent to me at a very young age that I was not gifted in the skill of drawing, nor was I gifted in the skill of painting. But what I seemed to be able to be very good at was creating a scene. I remember shooting my dog, Natasha. I was in second grade. Strike that. I was in third grade, possibly fifth grade. It's all a blur. I don't remember. I was young. And my dog was a border collie, and she had one ear that went up and one ear that went down. And I had these two twin beds in a spray painted wallpaper room. It was not cute, okay? It was the 80s, give me a break. I posed her on the bed with one paw, the other paw. Then I did a few motifs. There was dog went shopping, dog is a stuffed animal, and then all of these little tomatoes and really strange stuffed animals. I think that's when I really first enjoyed working with the camera. First time I was inspired with photography was Mr. Bob Jeffries, and he was my high school photography teacher. And he really encouraged me to keep pushing the envelope, if you will, to keep pushing the process, which inspired me to start working with solarization in the darkroom. And I became obsessed with this one print. It was at that point that I started looking at other photographers' work and finding different styles, different approaches, different lighting, different composition, different tonalities that really spoke to me. So at that time, I was looking at reference books of, the early pioneers and the successionists with like Alfred Stieglitz and that kind of a thing. On the other hand, I was looking at magazines. So there were photographers like David LaChapelle, who just his take on the culture that we all live in, with the consumption and with the idea of celebrity and the tongue-in-cheek way of making fun of people with their health, like that, just taking a piss out of it, like just having a good time and incorporating great composition and great color and great props. That was really inspirational, especially because when he was, beginning, he was using film, and I was using film at that time. I mean, there are very few people that I think are like, important, but seriously. But I mean, to me specifically, David LaChapelle, Annie Leibovitz, Patrick Demarchier, like I've seen them all in real time, and I'm just kind of like, oh my gosh, wow, you guys are so cool. If you only knew how much you inspired me. I'm such a geek. Well, I get a lot of my inspiration from a variety of different sources, from walking outside in my neighborhood and finding 5 bolts of sateen fabric, to finding tons and tons of milk cartons, to finding obscene amounts of newspaper floating in the air. All of these I pulled together, not necessarily at the same time, but on set, to create environments where I shoot photos. I don't know. I get my inspiration from everything and everyone, and as generic as that sounds, it's really true. I never know when I'm going to get it. I never know where I'm going to get it. Often I get it from just an encounter with someone at a specific moment when the light will hit them in a certain way, and it triggers a memory that I may have had, or triggers a situation I may have been in. Different emotions, different expressions, different experiences between not just my life, but also other people's lives, and in real time, and taking all of that and encapsulating it in one still image. My work deals thematically with the experience that I've had in this life as a female, specifically motherhood, femininity, sexuality, expectation of marriage, or the expectation of gender. The symbolism that I incorporate references not just spirituality and not just art history, but different phases in life. For example, I like to use a cow head in a variety of stages of decomposition to suggest the passage of time. I have been asked what my intention is and what I want the audience to take away from my work. My intention, as cheesy as it sounds, but as honest as it is simply to change the world. It's simply to change history. The most well-received messages are communicated visually, and those that are communicated visually are like planting a seed, because one never knows when it's going to hit that audience member. One never knows when it's going to hit that viewer, and they're going to be like, oh, I remember that. Whatever the viewer gets, if they get anything, if they stop and look, that's a success. You know? I mean, that is all I can hope for, is that somebody will look and then maybe they'll understand it, or maybe they'll think differently about a situation. Maybe when they go and they look at some iconography, maybe they'll question it in a different way. Maybe they'll interpret it in a different way because of something that I put in front of them. Another option, another choice. I feel so like a maiden, helpless. Oh, Romeo?